Right.
That you just turned a $2,000 assignment into a $7,000 assignment. That's insane. I mean, just I know kind of the process of it, but like, how did you get the cash buyer to do that? What is up, guys? Zach in here. Welcome to the Bags to Riches podcast. I'm your host. We are today with Caleb and Ryann out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. They're going to talk about how they got their first 7 deals, learning absolutely all basically for free, like from our stuff and just the wholesaling real estate, how they were able to get their first 7 deals in under a year, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. I keep seeing your story on Facebook. I think you've seen me on the lives talk about you, like from your first deal to getting your second, third deal, you guys kept just giving value in the Facebook group, just started encouraging others, and really you got your first deal, and I think it was lights over from there. So I want to give you guys the spotlight. So tell me, like, what got you guys into real estate?
Yeah, for sure. So, we've been around real estate for a while. My family has, real estate on the east side, and
so her dad owns a couple of rental properties and stuff like that over on the east side of Michigan. And we originally got into real estate because it's really kind of crazy, dude. It's really kind of like we're, very like God sent, right? Like it just so happened that the sales job that I was working for 5 years was kind of pushing me out for being interested in real estate, which is a crazy scenario in itself. But Ryann was actually a nurse at Spectrum. And she was in the medical field thrown in, when the stuff we don't talk about, happened, she was thrown in as a nurse and she was working long hours, and it really made us, she wasn't getting any sleep, stuff like that. It really made us evaluate like what we, kind of care about. And it was really our time. And then from there, a light bulb went off for like real estate. We didn't know it was going to be wholesaling though, right? We thought we were going to buy a duplex. We thought we were going to get rental income and all this other stuff in Grand Rapids. But we, we're listening to some bigger pocket stuff, taking the steps, taking action, and we finally worked up enough courage to attend our first local RIA.
It was so scary. We literally sat in the parking lot and debated on whether or not we were going to go in.
Yeah, we were like, we're not going to go in. We should just go back. Nobody wants to, we don't need to talk to anybody. So we decided to stay. We went in. It was super awkward, super uncomfortable, but we made some connections. And it later brought us to a different group that met Friday mornings, and they were a bunch of serious investors who all needed deals. So before we even knew it was wholesaling, they were like, hey, we need people to go out and find deals for us. Wholesaling is an option. And then from there, we had seen you in your dad's videos before, but the light never clicked. And then once we understood like what wholesaling was, we instantly went back to your content and then just started, we watched like, every single video. We still watch a video like today from like you when you had the short hair. There's like the Miami Dolphins thing behind, Rick's got the American flag up behind. So, we started massively, just digesting that content. And then from there, somebody at the local RIA group came up to us, said, are you guys wholesalers? We said, yes. He said, here's a property that I own. I want you to figure out what the ARV on it is. I want you to figure out some good comps on it. And I want you to figure out what you think the rehab cost for me was. And then meet me on Friday and we'll go over it. And then from there, we met this guy and he kind of showed us, he's a flipper. So he's not a wholesaler, but he knows about the process. So we actually have to go to our first deal we did with him in Grand Rapids and basically walked us through the process. He went to so many houses with us, man. When we first started taking action, so many houses. There a couple of times we sent him pictures of the wrong house that we actually were going to see. So he really went through a lot with us, but he got that first deal with us, and Ryan's actually an agent. So what we ended up doing is our first wholesale deal was only $2,000 assignment fee, but she gets to list it on the back end. And we got to walk through the entire process and go through his whole flip. So that was our first deal, man. That's what got us hooked. And then from there, it was just, wow, this really works. You just have to take action on it. So,
wow. I've heard about this before, getting the commission on the back end. How much is that commission on that first deal on the back end?
So he's still in the process of flipping it.
Okay. So what do you expect roughly?
Probably around 5,000.
Yeah.
That's way more than the assignment on that first deal.
Right.
that you just turned a $2,000 assignment into a $7,000 assignment. That's insane. I mean, just I know kind of the process of it, but like, how did you get the cash buyer to do that?
So he again is in our local RIA group that we still attend like every Friday morning. It's super important because they were kind of like our accountability partners. Where if we didn't have a deal, even though it'd been month, 2 months, I think it took for us to get our first one, they just kept on us saying, "Hey, do you have us a deal yet? Do you have us a deal yet?
Every Friday.
Yeah, let's go look at some houses." But anyway, we can talk about that. But he's a real estate agent as well, so he knows her broker, and we're all kind of in like a little circle. And he's like, "Look, things cost, expenses, hard money, all that stuff." So he's just like, "I'll let you list this on the back end, but I need you guys to take a smaller fee." And we're totally cool with that because it's more like that abundance mindset where you're like doing stuff to help other people, and then it just comes back. So we're hoping he sells it for like 245 on the back end and makes a ton of money, and then the more money he makes, the more money she'll make when she sells it. So,
right. And it was an easy decision just because he's added so much value to us and just taking us through this flip and teaching us, things to look out for, or how to analyze a property, when you go to the property and you kind of figure out what's wrong with it, like what exactly to look for from a flipper standpoint. That way, when we're like, advertising our deals to our cash buyers, we know kind of what goes into a flip to make our cash buyers the most amount of money.
Yeah. I mean, it's invaluable information starting out. So that's great. I mean, it's a win-win. You're learning this stuff. He's probably, or she's probably getting their first deal or two from you guys, and you're just giving them money. So I think it's a win-win. Plus you get the commission in the end. I mean, so how did you find that first deal? Like, what was the marketing like for that one?
Bandit Signs.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. We heard you going off about Bandit Signs, and I used to put up signs for a construction company a long time ago. So I was like, I can go put up some signs. So we just kind of in the mornings, we've been getting a little reckless with it. Don't put them up during the day. Like we had some people make some threats and stuff. But if in the mornings in the beginning, we were doing it at 5 a.m. On Thursdays and like Fridays, and we're putting out like 25
with the
30.
construction vest, a hat on.
And we were putting out like 25 to 30 each day. And
each week.
Okay, yeah. Did we do it 2 days each week though?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, like maybe like 50 signs, maybe less. But it took us like this guy, like we closed with him. I actually just sent him a text the other day. Like we try to stay in contact with people like that we've done business with, even if they're, regardless of if they're a motivated seller or if they're a cash buyer. And he told us, he's like, I drove past the sign for like a month. It was a long time. Like we didn't know if we were going to get a deal. We were kind of thinking like, what if we don't get a deal? But sure enough, this guy calls off a Bandit Sign and says, "Hey, I've seen the sign here and I really just need to get rid of it." And called us up. We scheduled an appointment, and he was super reasonable. Got to walk it with our cash buyer who we'd already been working with. So that all happened kind of super quick, fell together really nicely. And yeah, and we closed on it. We got it under contract at 92, sold it to Matt for 94. And, then she got the listing on the back end. So.
Wow. Bandit Signs are amazing. I love it. I mean, I feel like people are a little luckier now. You can put a mask on, a hat. No one can really see you. I was the one sprinting out there at 3 a.m. But those are great times, but Bandits, I'm telling you, it's like from the deals I've done with Bandit Signs, I've seen it's not the seller the first or third time watch. It's like driving past it like for the 5th, 6th, 7th time that boom, they decide to do it. So it's pretty important. And you're still putting Bandit Signs out today, right?
Oh yeah.
Sure are.
Oh yeah. Awesome. And so now you got your first deal. Tell me a little bit about the second, third, fourth, fifth deal. Like how did those start coming up?
Really crazy, man. We went from the closing of our first deal to a meeting in a little bit outside of our metro. And we met with this guy. And from there, we did some marketing. And sure enough, the day after we got our first deal, we had this lady, we've been putting some door hangers, and we'll have like a link to our website. And sure enough, she filled out her information, said she needed to sell quick over email too. She didn't call us, just over email. So we scheduled the appointment, and then sure enough, 3 days later, we had another deal.
Wow.
Yeah.
How much was that one?
That one was $10,000.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome. Wow. And then third, fourth, like what are the other deals you're doing? Like it seems like just started snowballing, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, huge snowball effect. We had this one where it was actually the motivated seller didn't own the house, but he said he did own the house to maybe like try to get one over on us kind of thing. But we ended up, instead of giving up, like we learned that he had a mortgage and liens and all this stuff on the property. But instead of giving up, we just ended up calling the lender, who was a person. So it was like a land contract. And we called her up and we said, hey, we're dealing with this person. And she was like, oh, don't trust this person. We said, hey, we know. That's why we're calling you. And we built some good rapport with her. And sure enough, we negotiated a short sale.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, it was crazy. Our title company helped us a ton. So again, not us. It's more so just like, when something comes up, we listen to some of your guys' content. Like, what do you and Rick say to do? And then we asked our title company what to do. And then that lady actually had an attorney. She was like from California, but she had a property in Michigan. And she basically had her attorney kind of work it out with us, where we figured out how to do a short sale. And it was kind of complicated.
Oh.
It was super complicated. And, I feel like with most of our deals, they've been, super complicated. That the second deal that we got was really like a blessing that we just got from God. Like seriously, it just was instant and it clicked and it just went so smoothly. But then, it seemed like after that, everything got super complicated. So, we just had a property that we just sold. On Friday, we closed on it, and that was our biggest deal ever. So this lady actually, her meter was off the house, and she didn't have electricity, she didn't have water, she didn't have anything, and she had like 6 animals in there. So a mix of like cats and dogs, and it was a whole hoarder house. So it was packed full of stuff, and these poor animals are running around, and they, weren't let out, weren't fed, didn't have any water. So we actually called the local pound or the local animal control, and it was the animal control came out and the police came out, and they ended up like rescuing these animals. And the video went like viral on Facebook. It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a win-win. Help the animal, help yourself, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Wow, that was your biggest deal. So how much was that one?
23.5.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we were like praising your and Rick's name. We're like, no way. Like we didn't believe it. And we worked with another realtor. So even though Ryan's a realtor, we worked with another realtor. And something that's important to note for, anybody that's listening to this is not to be greedy. Like we gave this realtor a pretty nice commission. And sure enough, he had a cash buyer. So he's like, hey, let me in the house, whatever. We put a lockbox on it because these houses are nasty. You want to avoid going in them any more than you have to. So we learned that the hard way too. We're like, 3 deals in when we finally figured out the lockbox thing. And anyway, this guy, he, God bless his soul. He's a realtor and he just has a massive cash buyers list for the area that we were in. And we weren't from the area that we were in, so we didn't really know a whole lot. And sure enough, he contacts his cash buyer, contacts us the same day and says, hey, I have an offer, $50,000. We had it under contract for 25. So we were like, wow.
I'm telling you right now, like realtors are amazing. Like where I'm at, I've seen this. So there's metros outside of me. Like there's Miami. There's people in Miami that are just chomping at the bit to get something under 100K. And I know you probably have that near your market, where I got realtors that are just dying to be on my list, and they overpay. And that's what I've seen. Like every deal I've gotten over 40K usually for an assignment, it's probably with a back pocket with a realtor, and it's awesome. That's wow. So what was the marketing for that deal?
That was a sticker. So pretty disruptive. So not that we, condone any of this, but if you're just getting started, you got to take serious action. And we had an envelope that basically has like a little note that says we want to, buy your house and stuff. And then we have a sticker that has our QR code and our thing, and we're sticking them to the doors.
I mean, it's like you're sticking them to like the front door side of the house kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's like in the blue tape.
Right. It's a blue sticker too, so it kind of fits. But anyway, this lady calls and she's livid. She's like, yeah, this house isn't for whatever. And then she started talking about how, are you guys the ones sending us postcards? And then instantly I knew what to do. I was just like, you know, actually we're not the ones, because we haven't done any direct mail yet. We've been waiting to kind of build some capital up and watch some more videos with Rick and probates and stuff like that, because we think we should mail the probates. But anyway, yeah, she was like, yeah, are you guys the ones that have been sending me postcards for the last whatever? And I was like, no, we're actually not those. We're, you know, we're more of a local hands-on company. This is a deal we just did. This is how we can help you. I'd love to hear more about what's going on with you. And then we built the relationship from there. And then this took a month, mind you. So it's not like we made like 23.5 in a day or anything like that. This was like, I was on the phone with this lady probably like what, 2-3 times a week for a month, maybe more. We dropped off water to her house because, I mean, a lot of these people don't have, you know, they don't have people. It's nice for you to show that you care. And that means a lot to some of these people. And once we dropped off the water, she called us later that day. She said, you know what, I'm rethinking staying here. Maybe I should move. You know, I don't have any heat. You know, here it is. So then from there we started negotiating. We actually had to take this lady to the hospital. It's a really crazy story. Do you want to touch on that real quick? Or?
Yeah. So so when we first brought our realtor that we were in contact with to get access and get into the house, we got there in the middle of a blizzard and couldn't, like, she wasn't answering the door. You know, we tried to walk around back and still no answer. You know, we're getting worried about her because we know the electricity's off. It's a total blizzard outside. Like, you know, we just wanted to make sure she was okay. So anyway, long story short, we ended up like doing a wellness check, you know, all that stuff, and found out that she was in the hospital. And she later reached out to us and, you know, told us the situation, said that, you know, she had some issues, you know, with her stomach. So it wasn't anything fatal or serious. So she was out and had to actually be taken to a couple doctor's appointments. So, you know, because we had built that, you know, Caleb really built that rapport with her and that relationship with her. And, you know, she really felt like she could trust us enough to, you know, lend a hand. I mean, this city is like, is kind of far from us. So it's not very close. So we still had to drive, you know, a good 30-40 minutes to go get her and then take her to the doctor. But, you know, that's something that, you know, we want to stand out from other people, is that we're willing to go out and, you know, truly help people and not just like make money.
Wow. That's why you guys got that deal, you know, like to get an extraordinary amount of money on a deal, which for the ARVs in your area, it's a really good one. You have to do what I love saying this quote, you have to do what others won't to get results others don't. And you did what other wholesalers won't do. So in essence, you got a deal that no one else would have gotten except for you guys. And it took me a while to learn that. You know, I'd done a lot of deals. I remember a $60,000 probate deal when I was starting out. 60 grand was everything to me when I started out. I met the lady every day for 2 weeks straight. And eventually I got that deal. You know, you got 10 other wholesalers around, but it's a testament to you guys and the perseverance. And I think a lot of people can learn from that. I mean, that's insane to think. Wow. That's funny. Like, what about the other deals? Like, it looks like the marketing is going everywhere. So you're doing stickers, you're doing bandit signs. What other type of marketing are you guys doing?
Door hangers are huge for us. Ryan kind of, you know, we kind of, and again, this is all, you know, disruptive marketing, whatever. You would definitely want to check and see if this is okay to do where you're at. But Ryan came up with an idea that I think everyone's had. It's just, you know, whatever. And we look up the vacant properties on List REI or PropStream, and then we'll put, like, if we know it's like bank owned or vacant, like nobody's going out there, we'll put like these bigger "We Buy Houses" signs like in those yards. And they pretty much stay there. They don't, yeah, they don't take them down. So it's like, that's another thing we've been doing. We knock doors to get one deal. And that just came from like, and we also found a huge majority of cash buyers by knocking doors too. We also found a lot of properties that were like, people were working on and they're like, oh yeah, but I'm looking to buy more. So, so yeah, that's about it. We've done some SMS with Batch, which we actually just were at a property today, where we're going to try to make them an offer and see if we can get it locked out. But that was over SMS. So I don't know if we've got a deal over SMS. I think it's just been a couple bandit signs.
Yeah, bandit signs and door hangers. Really, I mean, we really like to be out in person, because we think that that's like the most effective thing to do. Whether, you know, you're going to get your face in front of the homeowner easiest and quickest like that. I mean, you can cold call and you can do SMS, but I mean, how much easier would it be to just knock on someone's door and, you know, have them in the right situation at the right time and just kind of connect those dots. So we really believe in the, you know, in-person marketing and the being like super out in the field, and the door hangers are a killer. So
Right. And that's all for your market though. It's all probably market specific and also kind of like where you're at in your business. Like what we're trying to do is we're smaller than some of the other wholesalers, which we do network with too. It's important to network with the wholesalers that are more successful in your area. And they're not really doing any of that stuff anymore. And rightfully so, we're making more money. So they, you know, kind of just told us, hey, you could probably get deals by doing this stuff because we're not going to do it. So we're just kind of in that, yeah, we're doing the grunt work right now to kind of build up capital and then establish some systems.
Yeah, that's how you do it. Where do you get your door hangers from?
Vistaprint.
Vistaprint. Simple. I mean, I'm telling you, like I used to do the Bandit sign trick all the time where a little different than what you did was I'd drive for dollars. I had Bandit signs in the back of my car and then I'd see a vacant house, just stick a Bandit sign in there. It's a win-win because no one's going to go to the house. You have a Bandit sign there when everyone's driving by, or the manager's going to go to you all angry and call you and you're like, oh, you're calling me? Are you interested in selling your house?
right.
Boom. It's a win-win. Those work really well. Disruptive marketing, obviously, if it's legal in your area, I can tell you it's not legal when I did it 4 years ago. No, 5 years ago. And it's been long enough where I can say I've done it. It was definitely not legal, but again, it propelled me to where I'm at now. And it's not like you went to jail for, like you go to jail for that. It's a fine, obviously. But it's kind of the underground that no one really talks about. But like I've said before, like you're doing stuff that the bigger people don't do, and you're getting deals that they would have never even gotten. And I think that's the difference. Like you just did the extra steps that most people just refuse to do. And I commend you guys for that. And you're doing the work, you're finding the cash buyers. At the end of the day, I mean, what are kind of your acquisitions skills looking like now? Because I know a lot of people starting out, you know, under a year, they go into an appointment thinking, oh, I hope to get a deal, or I might have. Like, how are you getting deals and getting these things locked up, especially when you were starting out?
Yeah, I'm pretty, you know, we're pretty blessed. I did work like a high pressure, like over the phone sales job. So I would get people to kind of, you know, you put like 25 grand on a credit card after talking to me for an hour. So I had some sales skills and then which is something to know is like wholesaling is like a great opportunity where you can actually help people instead of just getting people to buy stuff. Because that's miserable and you can't, you know, it's not sustainable. So this is much better. But yeah, you can just kind of talk to them and you really have to care. I mean, if you care and, you know, your dad and you kind of taught us that the most important thing is always that rapport. And that, you know, if you can, you know, the friends, you know, occupation, you know, recreation, you know, dreams, if you can follow those and keep it in that box, like you have a good chance at getting a deal. The other thing that's important for newer people starting out is you got to make sure that there's a story. Like if there's no story, there's no deal.
Right.
And we chased our tail a lot of times with people that, you know, for sale by owners that, you know, want a ridiculous price or something just, you know, crazy like that. And if they don't really have a story or they don't really have any motivation, you might want to just put them in your CRM and come back to them in a little bit. So we tried to stick on the people that had the energy, that were able to give us energy and for us to feel like we're making a difference and helping people. We tried to stick to talking to those people and just,
you know, and a lot of our deals that we've got when at the closing table, our sellers will say, you know, I sold my house to you because of the relationship that I had with you, not because you were the highest price, but because, you know, we had that relationship and you were nice and you actually listened to what I had to say. So, you know, that was a huge like indicator that that's exactly what we should be doing.
Honesty too, like a couple times we didn't know the answers to some of the questions and stuff like that. And it's really tempting to just spit something out, you know, that sounds sexy, sounds cool, you know what you're doing. But if you just tell them that you don't know, but you will try to figure out who does, that goes a long way too, because then, you know, then they trust you and they're not going to be thinking, you know, whatever, you know, if you just called some random person, you know, whatever you'd be thinking if you took a cold call from somebody that asked you to buy their house or whatever. So,
Wow. My hat's off to you guys, because I've been preaching this forever. I love that have someone on here showing proof that having empathy and legitimately caring about people will make you more money than anything else. I just hate the whole, oh, it's going to be a super sexy, high pressure sales thing in wholesaling. You're going to lose money doing that. And I think you're a big testament to that. I know I am, that just caring about people, it makes you so much money and you feel good at the end of the day helping people. So my hat's off to you guys. You've blown me away from your story. I think it's really motivating. What was the date that you started wholesaling real estate? We're going all in. We're starting.
That's a tough question because it's like, when did we watch our first like Flip with Rick video? When did we, quit our jobs and say, okay, because it really didn't get serious until we burned those escape ships. You know what I mean? So until we got rid of the jobs and we're like, okay, now we have to, that's when it got serious. Like you could have said we attended our first RIA in July. So you could say 7 months, but really in September is when my job was like, hey, listen, if you're trying to do the real estate stuff, you're out of here. So then we were like, okay, path of least resistance, you know what I mean? We chose the resistance and sure enough, it was just a matter of time.
Wow. You guys blown me away. You said 23,000 is your biggest deal. I am putting money on that will probably not be your biggest deal this year. I can almost guarantee it if you keep it up. And the journey's crazy. It just, if you guys keep it going and scale it up, the world's your oyster. So I think you guys are a big testament of what could happen when you actually put your head down and get to work. My last question for you guys, because I think this is pretty important. Like, no, I don't think anyone's talking about this for like people that are together on this. What was it like having each other as a support system starting out? Because I know a lot of people start solo and that could be daunting. What was it like having each other, just to rely on each other starting out?
It was awesome. It's always great to have an accountability partner and someone that's, if I'm not feeling up to it one day and he's there to kind of push me through it and say, no, like, let's do this. Let's get up. Let's get jacked up. You know what I mean? So it's super helpful to have that, that support. And, we're best friends. So we get along so well and, we do everything together. So it's so helpful to have someone there to kind of, do this with you, do everything that is difficult, like going to sellers, meeting appointments, like that's all hard stuff. It's putting yourself out there. So having, someone to do it with is super, super, I'm so grateful.
And it makes you not take yourself too serious too. Like I was doing some door hangers and I totally slipped on ice and just fell on the ground. And she's like in the car, laughing. And when you have somebody else out there, like some of the stuff you see dealing with motivated sellers or cash buyers that will think you have it under contract for a certain price and then they'll lowball you, just ridiculous stuff that you can just laugh about with somebody else and not take yourself too serious. Like at the end of the day, we just didn't know about wholesaling because it was like, there's no way this is real. Like there's no way. Like that's awesome. Like, what do you mean? Like I'm just basically a middleman and I'm, so you can never take yourself too serious. We just try to learn from everybody. And that's about it. We laugh at each other and kind of push each other to do this stuff. And once you get in a routine, like now marketing is like an average part of our day.
That's awesome. And Ryan, so if someone's an agent and they're trying to get into wholesaling, how did you find a broker that was okay with you doing this? And like, what would you say to someone who's looking for a broker that's okay with you wholesaling real estate?
That's a great question. So, I was really blessed to have my broker that I do. So we originally went into, real estate wholesaling, and I actually have my license from a few years ago, but I never did anything with it. So I just kind of sat in escrow. And then when we started wholesaling and going to these RIAs and these meetups and this every week Friday, that's actually where I met my broker. So he knew that I was already wholesaling, but when Caleb and I were looking at ways to improve our comps and things like that. We wanted to get access to the MLS. And so, we reactivated my license with that. So my broker, he knew that I was wholesaling originally. And so I asked him if he would be able to kind of hold my real estate license. And, he was fully aware of the situation, and he was like, absolutely, I'll hold your license. I'm not allowed to do, we tell all of our sellers that I'm a real estate agent. So we have that like disclosure, and they know that I'm an agent. But, Caleb mostly handles like the communication and things like that. So I would just say that if you are an agent wanting to wholesale, I would probably find a wholesaler, and kind of partner up like that.
Perfect. Guys, your story has blown me away. I think it's really motivating for a lot of people. Before we sign off here, do you have any parting thoughts for the people listening that maybe they're got their first deal, they're trying to get it, and they're looking for you guys for inspiration? What would you tell them?
To keep pushing for sure. Like some of the things that we continue to talk about or that are on our board that we try to remain mindful of is that number one, it's other people, like your free content, your dad's free content, our local RIA group. Like those are really the key reasons behind our success. So it's important that you stay humble and realize that other people may be the key to your success, and you don't know who you're talking to. So you might want to choose your words wisely when you come to counter with different people. And then another thing would be to get rid of the excuses for sure. Like you have to get rid of those excuses, because if you have those excuses that you can rely on or fall back on, then it's super tempting to do it. And then you can easily say, well, I had a full-time job and I worked 40 hours, so I didn't, and if you leave yourself with any of that stuff, it's just kind of an excuse to fail. So we're huge into like, if you're going to do it, like, jump in.
Boom. That's awesome. If somebody wants to JV with you or just get connected with you, send you deals, where would they go and find you guys?
So our Facebook page is City Lights GR1, like the number 1. And then they can also, shoot me a direct message on my personal Facebook. So just, Ryann Breyer, or we have a website, and
that's citylightsgrandrapids.com is our website. So citylightsgrandrapids.com. And then they can also email us at citylightsrentalsllc@gmail.com. So
perfect. Thank you guys so much. I can't wait to see where you guys are going to be next year, but I know it's going to be even better. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Zach.